Hearing Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo being called the N-word while presenting an award, uncomfortable watch, and you could see it on their faces. So the BAFTA Film Awards happened earlier tonight, and Tourette's campaigner John Davidson shouted that word because of his condition. Now, I'm not condoning that word being used under any circumstance, especially in that setting and knowing it's going to be broadcasted on TV. It's a lot. However, I am seeing people with no real understanding of Tourette's syndrome commenting things like, well, my brother's girlfriend's best friend has it and she doesn't say things like that. I'm also seeing people say things like, oh, he couldn't help it, or what a cop-out. And if the N-word is an initial tick towards a person of colour, then that person's mindset and morals needs to be questioned. And before anyone comments, I don't know this man, but what I will say is that that's not how the condition works.
Somebody said Tourette's. I said send him to the hood. So I was watching the BAFTAs, right? And then this activist with Tourette's started yelling the N-word with the hard ER. Now, I know. Tourette's is involuntary. It's not like it's just this thing that people can just switch off whenever they want to. But let me tell y'all something. You drop that word in the hood just one good time, you're going to discover muscles of self-control that you didn't even know you had.
Disability definitely deserves understanding.
For a vital part of movie making.
But so does the impact of racial language. So when do we draw the line and say that a disability does not excuse language that dehumanizes others? Sinners and Black Panther production designer Hannah Beachler shared on X that the slur was also directed at her personally on her way to dinner following the show multiple times. And so now, of course, there are conversations about ableism. Now, I don't know a lot about Tourette's, but from my research, coprolalia is an extremely rare symptom of Tourette's, where the tick is the offensive utterance.
Of the night for a vital part of movie making.
So this happened at the BAFTA Awards, which is like the British version of the Oscars, and the person shouting the N-word is John Davidson. He lives with Tourette syndrome, and he's also an activist. Jamie Foxx spoke about this publicly. He basically said that out of all the words he could have said, he chose to say that one. Nah, he meant that shit. Unacceptable. This has caused a major uproar. We have people who are on the same side as Jamie Foxx and feel like John Davidson shouldn't have said that, and then we have people who are with John Davidson and are sympathizing for him because he does have Tourette syndrome. So I decided to do a little Google search, and I was like, does Tourette syndrome cause you to say derogatory things? And the CDC says yes, Tourette syndrome can cause people to involuntarily shout, swear, or make offensive, socially inappropriate remarks.
Let's play a quick game. If there were two white people on stage and there was a Black person that had Tourette's and they yelled out something anti-Semitic, how do you think people would feel about that? There is no reason that the BAFTAs did not edit this out of the 2-hour broadcast when they were able to edit out Free Palestine. They're owed a public apology not just by the person that did this, but also by the BAFTAs. This was completely irresponsible and just really, really sad. It's very much giving setup, because why didn't you edit that out? And
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making. We're here to celebrate.
So that happened last night during the broadcast of the BAFTA Awards from England. And the BAFTA Awards are comparable to, I would say, the Golden Globes. Some would say the Oscars. It is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award. And while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting the first award of the night, that comment came from the audience. Now, that comment came from John Davidson, who suffers from Tourette's syndrome. And while I do know a lot about Tourette's syndrome in experience, because I grew up with and had Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, who went to Gulfport High, star basketball player that would go on to play for various NBA teams like the Denver Nuggets and, of course, LSU when he was in college. He has been at my table with my family, and he has never called any of the women there bitch or anything else. But I digress, because still, I'm not speaking on John Davidson. My issue is with the BBC, because the BBC chose to air that broadcast without editing that part out.
BAFTAs were not live, and they chose to edit out Akinola Davies Jr. saying Free Palestine, but not John Davidson's outburst of the N-word towards Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. This is not only incredibly disrespectful to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan, it's also making a spectacle out of John Davidson's disability. BAFTAs are policing one black man's free speech while keeping in this other degrading racist moment of two black men being called a slur on international television.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm trusting that you're all doing well today, and on today's video is really quite disappointing because I'm talking about the BAFTA Awards. This is the British Film Academy Awards that took place recently on the 22nd of February. So we have this person by the name Davidson who apparently is suffering some, I don't know, kind of disease, syndrome, and when these two beautiful, handsome black men were representing the award, that is the time that this disease decides to manifest itself. And that even aside, this is getting personal to the point where the BBC had to air the news. And they had time to cut out that part, and they didn't. So I'm trying to tell myself here, like, do we just put anything out there for the purpose of sales and all that? Because in most cases, if you've seen my channel, or rather if you've come through my content, you'll realize how vocal I am when it comes to systemic racism. So this is the situation whereby you people are normalizing racism, and you just feel like it's okay. You just feel like it's okay. Because even with the crowd itself, I was so disappointed with the crowd. Like, people are just talking and people laugh about it and people clap about it. I'm like, what are you clapping about? There's a creator right here on my channel who has said that, you know what, that aside, like, if you want to speak about your syndrome, your disease, your disability, got you to a place where you could just alter the N-word in public while two black men were representing their words. That is the only time this thing manifested itself. So she said, you know what, come to the hood and try that. Into the hood, you will not even be able to speak by right now. So most of the time I also feel disappointed by the channels where people are supposed to be learning, by the channel where people are supposed to be discussing and coming up with possible ways that they can possibly end racism, because this is happening in 2026. Guys, let us take a moment to reflect on this. Let us take a moment to ask ourselves, is this the place where we are supposed to be into? Is this the place where we are trying to mentor future creators to be part of? Because definitely all that was so disappointing, all that was so humiliating. And I'm like, I still don't get it, because why that particular time? Because if this person has been sick and suffering with whatever syndrome this guy had, so it was that particular time, it waited for that specific moment when black people were on the stage and representing their words, and then you utter the N-word. And then at that particular moment, because this wasn't live, rather, this was pre-recorded, the editing team did not even take a minute to slash that aside. And then after people have spoken about it, that is the time now you come forth and now you want to apologize. Apologize for what? I feel like if we continue like this, there's no anytime soon that we are going to end this racism slurs and this racism act and all that. And you know, the bad part about it is when we black people speak about it, you all think that we are delusional. No, we are not. You all think that we don't have anything else to do. It's, you know, it's quite disappointing. It's quite disappointing. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, my name is Yvonne, just in case you're new here. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you for staying. Thank you for always checking out. To my new subscribers, you are welcome to being part of my online family. And until next time, let me know, what do you think about this issue? Do you think It's something that could be avoided. And also, I feel like the MAGA people, I feel like these people get away with a lot of stuffs. If we were in a white space and then a black person would have said something that wasn't really correct according to their cultures, according to any other thing, we wouldn't be talking about this right now, right?